that you can click on. If you want to start a longevity business or get your products at the wholesale price, click on the Join Now link at the upper left-hand corner of the page, or you can call the Brightside Ben phone team at 866-735-2470. Later in the hour, we'll be talking to Stacy Malkin, the media director for California Right to Know, a grassroots organization that's set up to support Proposition 37 in California. Stacy will tell us all about that. But before we get to that, I want to continue talking about a little bit about genetics. GMO is a very complicated subject, this whole idea of genetics, but we're going to seek to simplify the idea because GMOs are an important health issue, and we all do have the right to know. In my opinion, we all do have the right to know about what's in our food, but we got to understand a little bit about what exactly is wrong with genetically modified organisms. In order to do that, we got to understand a little bit about genetics, a real little bit about genetics. Genetics involves these little segments on the long string of chemicals, huge compared to a cell, this long string called DNA. And each one of these, this long string is divided, this 10-foot long string is divided into 25 or 30,000 different pieces. These little pieces are called genes. Each gene is responsible for the production of a protein. So, for example, if you have blue eyes, blue color proteins are making your eyes blue. These blue color proteins are coming from genes that make proteins that make your eyes blue. If you have long bones, these long bone proteins that give you long fingers or long toes or long arms or long legs, these long bone proteins are produced from genes that make long bone proteins. If you have dark skin, you got dark skin proteins. These are coming from genes that make dark skin proteins. If you're a strawberry plant and you have genes that make proteins, if you're a strawberry plant, you're going to have genes that make proteins that make you taste and smell and look like a strawberry. If you're a tomato plant, you're going to have genes that are going to produce proteins that make you look and smell and taste like a tomato. And the same goes for corn or soy or an octopus or a mushroom or a tree or anything else that's alive. Genes make proteins. These proteins give living things their characteristics. Now, when genetic science really began in earnest in the 1960s, we used to think that for every one of the 100,000 or 200,000 different proteins in the body, there was a corresponding gene. One gene, one protein. And pharmaceutical companies and chemical companies got really excited because they figured as soon as we can figure out what gene is associated with which protein and where on this long string inside every cell, you were going to where on this long string these genes were that corresponded to specific proteins, we could figure out how to stick genes in and take genes out and make different kinds of proteins and make different kinds of organisms. We could make organisms with blue eyes or brown eyes or long fingers or dark skin, or we could create all kinds of different plants. In the world of tomatoes, we could make a tomato that tasted like a strawberry, or a strawberry that looked like a tomato, or a corn that had a characteristic of an apple, or a soy that had the characteristics of peas. This was an incredible idea to drug companies and to food processing companies. The idea that we could pull genes out and put genes in and create different kinds of living organisms. So in the 1990s, drug companies and big chemical companies like Monsanto and DSM poured billions of dollars into trying to figure out exactly which genes and which proteins were corresponding with each other and where those genes were on this long string. They called it the Human Genome Project. And what they were trying to determine was where on this long string of chemicals the genes for blue eyes were, or the genes for long fingers were, or the genes for dark skin were. The idea being that once we found where these genes were on the long string called DNA, where each gene was for each different protein, we'd be able to mix and match and manipulate and create whatever kind of characteristics we wanted to create. However, by 2003, the Human Genome Project had essentially been mapped out. The human genome had essentially been mapped out, and all the genes had been identified, and scientists were completely shocked and completely dismayed to find out that while we had 200,000 different proteins in our body for blue eyes and long fingers and dark skin and all the other qualities of a body, there were only 30,000 genes. In other words, we thought that there would be one gene for every protein, but it turns out that there's only 30,000 genes, and there's somewhere near 200,000 different proteins in the body. And even more shocking, human beings, with all our complexity and biological sophistication, have only twice the genes of a fruit fly. There are weeds that have as many genes nearly as many genes as are in the Human Genome Project. So clearly, it was not as simple as one gene, one protein. In fact, as it turns out, the relationship between genes and proteins is extremely complex, and one gene can have impacts that change the shape and structure and performance and production of tens or hundreds or even thousands of different proteins. And this is the big problem with genetic modification. When you start manipulating and pulling genes out of one species and sticking them into another, you have now potentially not just changed the one protein that's associated with the gene, but you have changed potentially tens or hundreds or thousands of different proteins. No one knows. And remember, everything that makes a living being what it is proteins. So when you start yanking out genes and sticking other genes in, you have completely changed the potential, you have potentially completely changed the characteristics of this plant. And what's scarier, you may not even know. Proteins determine everything an animal or a plant is and does. Some plants make toxic poisons. So if you stick a gene in, you may accelerate the production of these toxic poisons. A gene that makes a protein that makes a soy plant taste bitter may be something that you may want to take out, but if you take it out, you may end up creating proteins that cause infertility. Or you may create proteins that cause cancer. If you say, well, I'm going to insert a gene from this orange tree that makes a protein that lowers the freezing point of the fruit, you may end up creating proteins that create an autoimmune disease. And just as dangerous and just as insidious are companies that insert genes into plants that produce proteins that are going to make the plant resistant to pesticides. Monsanto manufactures a pesticide called Roundup Ready. So they thought it would be brilliant, or that makes a pesticide called Roundup. So they thought it would be brilliant to get a gene that would make a plant more resistant to Roundup. So now farmers can spray way more Roundup pesticide on their soy and their corn and their cotton and their canola, way more pesticide than a non-genetically modified plant could ever tolerate. They call these seeds Roundup Ready. These Roundup Ready seeds allow a soy plant or a corn plant or whatever kind of plant the seed is going to make to resist pesticides. As if we weren't getting enough pesticides, now farmers can spray triple the amount of pesticides on their plant without killing the plant thanks to this genetic modification. And of course that means that you and I and our families are going to be exposed to triple the amount of Roundup. But not to worry, according to Monsanto, Roundup is completely safe. Don't worry about it. All right, we'll continue this discussion with Stacey Malkin when we come back from our break. Stacey is the media director for California Right to Know, and she's going to tell you why you need to vote if you're in California on yes on Prop 37, and why you need to know about it if you're not in California. We'll be back right after this on The Bright Side. Don't go away.
Warnings of an American collapse hit us nearly every day. Gear up while you still can with Infidel Body Armor. Don't spend between $500 and $600. Infidel is available for just $374.99 with free shipping within the U.S. Made in America and legal in all 50 states. Resist tyranny with Infidel Body Armor. Buy yours today at InfidelBodyArmor.com. Spelled INFIDEL BodyArmor.com. Infidel Body Armor. Just won't quit.
This is Dan Pilla. Do you owe the IRS money you can't pay? Are tax debts crippling you? I've defended people from the IRS for over 30 years. I've helped thousands, and I can help you too. I wrote the book on IRS settlement, and I'm telling you, there's no such thing as a hopeless case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX to finally get free of IRS debt. With the IRS's new programs, there's never been a better time to solve your problem. Call 800-34-NO-TAX. That's 800-34-NO-TAX, or my website, danpilla.com.
Don't complain about your cable bill going up and up and up. Do something about it. Grab a pencil and jot down this special number, 1-855-905-MY-TV. The more cable TV rates go up, the better digital satellite TV looks. Say goodbye to the cable guy and get more of your favorite channels in 100% digital quality for less money. Call 1-855-905-MY-TV. Sign up for packages starting as low as $19.99, and there's no equipment to buy. You get free HD TV upgrade, a free DVR upgrade, and free professional installation. You control what you watch when you watch it. Record your favorite shows, pause and rewind live TV, even skip the commercials. Watch local channels too. At just $19.99, what are you waiting for? Pull out your major credit or debit card. Call 1-855-905-MyTV. 1-855-905-MyTV. Say goodbye to the cable guy. Cut costs and get more. 1-855-905-MyTV. 1-855-905-MyTV.
At 30dayfoodsupply.com, you can now purchase a one-of-a-kind product not available anywhere else. A meatless burger dry mix in 4 delicious flavors. With our new Oregon Trail Foods vegan burgers, all you do is add water and fry. They need no refrigeration. They're packaged in Mylar bags with an oxygen absorber for a long shelf life. They're non-GMO. They're gluten, soy, nut, and chemical-free, but they're loaded with flavor. And a good source of carbs and protein, yet low in sodium. Flavors include Italian, spicy Mexican, 6 vegetable, and black bean olive. Go to 30dayfoodsupply.com or call 541-229-0010 and order today. Eat them every day, take them camping, or save them for an emergency. Check them out at 30dayfoodsupply.com and click on the vegan burger icon. That's 30dayfoodsupply.com, where all of our products are produced in Oregon by Oregon Trail Foods. 30dayfoodsupply.com.
This alert just came in. This special announcement is for business owners and leaders of organizations who've been waiting for the right time to build. General Steel has made it impossible to wait any longer with rock-bottom prices that could save you thousands. That's right, General Steel, America's leader in pre-engineered structures, is offering buildings at prices you will never see again. Don't miss these prices. A 50 by 100 for $35,000. You heard right. That's 5,000 square feet for $35,000. Manufacturers, if you need a larger building, try a 100 by 100 commercial building for $129,000. You can't afford to rent with these prices. Imagine a 70 by 100-foot church building for under $69,000. With the economy improving and interest rates still at historic lows, you can't afford to wait. So call 866-91-STEEL. Lock in your price now. Call 866-91-STEEL. That's 866-917-8335.
If you need to say happy birthday, happy anniversary, thank you, or simply I'm thinking of you, ProFlowers.com is the key. ProFlowers has stunning bouquets, like the best-selling 100 blooms for $19.99. Plus, ProFlowers will include a glass vase for free. Sending someone a wonderful surprise of beautiful flowers sent fresh from the fields is easy. Choose the bouquet you like, pick the delivery date, and each order is 100% guaranteed. Plus, all bouquets from ProFlowers are guaranteed to last at least 7 full days. Beautiful, fragrant flowers, picked fresh and sent to your loved one for lasting enjoyment. To get this incredible savings and send someone 100 gorgeous blooms with a free vase for $19.99, go to ProFlowers.com, click the blue microphone in the top right corner, and enter code PLOW. That's ProFlowers.com. Click the mic and enter code PLOW.
You're listening to GCN, proudly sponsored by UnseenNow.com. Lock down your digital life at UnseenNow.com. This is GCN.
The following program is a rebroadcast of a previously aired show.
All right, welcome back to The Bright Side. Thank you so much, friends, for being here. We are going to continue talking a little bit about GMOs. Now we know a little bit about GMOs, a little bit about genetic modification and the problems associated with these kinds of foods. And now I'm honored to welcome to our show our next guest, She's a consumer advocate and an author, and most recently she's involved with the group California Right to Know as the media director. California Right to Know is a grassroots organization that's been set up to support the California initiative known as Prop 37 that would have food manufacturers put labels on their products informing consumers of any GMOs that were used in the production of those goods. So with that, please welcome to The Bright Side, the media director for California Right to Know, Stacey Malkin. Greetings, Stacey. Welcome to The Bright Side. How you doing this morning?
Hi, great. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on. First of all, let me personally say I am a big supporter of what you guys are doing. I think this is a significant issue, and I think it's something that we all need to be paying close attention to. But I want to play a little devil's advocate here and give you an opportunity to fully explain your take and the California Right to Know take on the bill that is known as Prop 37. So cutting to the chase, why does California Right to Know feel like this Prop 37 is such a big issue, and what do you want California consumers to know about the dangers